It all began with a well. A well represents relationship. It represents intimacy. It represents family. It represents city. It represents lineage. It represents legacy. That's why this well is being talked about thousands of years later when Jesus is present. A couple thousand years later. And so here's Jesus, and she's still honoring Jacob and his well, and the water it keeps giving them. It never ran out of supply. But Jesus comes in, and he takes the concept and the symbolism of water in the natural for what she's thirsty for, and identifies a thirst in her soul. A thirst that here she is prophetically, without knowing it, to draw water out of a well, but she doesn't know the very issue in her life where she keeps getting married and her relationship breakdowns keep occurring, and finally she's with this other man she's not married to, and Jesus said, I'm going to give you water that is going to quench the thirst of your soul. And I'm going to draw you into an arena where you're going to recognize that you are a spirit as well. And I'm going to not only give you a water to drink, I'm going to cause you to become a living well that everywhere you go, this life, this water, this thing that I'm offering you is going to flow out of your life everywhere you go. She had an encounter with him. And I believe Jesus, when he was speaking to this woman, not only was he speaking to the woman, but he was also prophetically is speaking today to another woman, which I believe is his church, which is his bride. And he's speaking to the church that is thirsty and looking for something and maybe seeking for it in the wrong places like this woman was. She was broken. And Jesus saw through her brokenness. But what's really amazing is when Jesus spoke to her, there was no condemnation in the tone of his voice. There was so much love in grace in his communication with this woman who was a Samaritan. First of all, he shouldn't be talking to her. His disciples, when they came back, they're like, what's up with Jesus? He's talking to this woman. Do you remember? They actually comment on that. So this is part of the rest of the story. So they see Jesus talking to this woman. They're like, we don't know what's up with Jesus. He must be too hungry. Let's go get some food. But meanwhile, Jesus was about the Father's business. He was trying to reach this woman. God had a divine appointment for this woman who was struggling in her life, and she was thirsty in her soul. She was lacking something, and Jesus knew exactly what she was lacking. And Jesus wanted her to have a revelation of who he is and what he has to offer her. He finally came to her and said, you've tried. You've tried all these men. You tried to have a home. You tried to build relationships. Everything's fallen apart. And now the sixth man that you're with, it's still not working. You're not even married to him. And not only are you naturally and physically thirsty, you're emotionally thirsty. You're psychologically thirsty. You're intellectually thirsty. And you are spiritually thirsty today.